Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you've never been to my channel before, hi, I'm Amber Brown, and in today's channel and video we are going to be reading the story again called Desire in Decrum. We left off where she met Prince, so let's see what happens if she meets him or not. She's going to go make her London debate at Mr. Sinclair's dinner party. And we're going to see if she makes a good impression. Mr. Mary Cluster will sabotage us. So, let's get going. Chapter 6, an end of year. After arriving at your town, you and Miss Parsons both glare at Mr. Merricaster, who still clinches your grandmother's letter. Why did you leave us stranded in London? Did your mother intend I never make it here at all? Bria gives Mr. Merricaster an encouraging smile as he tries to choke out a response. Some kind of misunderstanding. You set me up to get lost in London. Did you only want your mother told you? Barefoot pads and bridge-gans on the road into London. What if we hadn't found our way back here before dark? Mr. Merricaster shrieks back from your glare, but takes a breath and draws himself up again. My mother is the Countess of Edgewater, and my father is the Earl. My father entrusted my safety to this household. What would you tell him had my virtue been assaulted while we were lost? My apologies, Miss Parsons. I hadn't considered. Feuds that last for generations have started over last. Miss Parsons flounces out the front door, and you rush after her. As you reach the front step out of Mr. Merricaster's sight, Miss Parsons doubles over giggling. Did you see his face? He's terrified of you. He should be. Did you see him try to warm out any of my response and taking? Let me read that again, Tempester. He should be. Did you see him try to warm out the taking any responsibility? Mr. Merricaster is tough in position. He has buckled himself to slug. Is much less interesting than you. Miss Parsons lets her face drop in a mockery at Mr. Merricaster. Oh, poor me. I'm a man of 5 and 20, and I still can't say no to my mother. You're terrible. Before you can say any more, Miss Parsons noticed a young woman in a fine gown getting into a carriage across the street. She jumps. Oh, for a moment I thought that was my sister. I must get to her house before she gets worried. I know she has plans lined up for me all week, so I shall try to find some time to visit. She plants a kiss on your cheek and hurries across the square. As you return to the drawing room, the sound of an unfamiliar laughter catches your attention. Ha! I can't believe you never bought over. Where I lived, we always grew and cooked everything ourselves. Well, there are many bachelors in London without a wife to cook for them. The stores try to fill that need. Then I called. They are all so lucky as to find a wife. She gives him a dimple smile. Mr. Merriplaster's face reddens as he glances away. It is only lucky if it's the right wife. He reaches for Bria's hand just as you clear your throat, and you both jump back guilty. You can show Lady Amber to her rooms. Miss Daly's on the second floor. Bria lifts her skirt and curtsies her with a flash of his slim ankle. Of course, sir. Mr. Merriplaster quickly leaves the room as you and Bria walk towards the stairs. Bria, were you flirting with him? I think Mr. Merriplaster fancies you. Bria shoots a glance at Mr. Merriplaster, retreating back, blush furiously. And what's the harm in that? You're shameless. You can't actually like the man, can you? I know you don't care for him, Amber, but there's more to him than what you've seen. Twilight is already falling as Bria leads you into your new bedroom. You sit down on the large bed. Do you really care for Mr. Merriplaster? Then what about Mr. Woods? You know I like him, but it's not as if an understanding will either of them. Mr. Merriplaster has been kind to me. I feel bad for him trapped between you and the Countess. You know he's engaged to Miss Sultan. We're not. He is far above me. It's just a harmless flirtation. She turns her full attention to your luggage. Now let's see. Mr. Sinclair is having an intimate dinner party tomorrow night, and your grandmother told me you must go to the tailor first thing in the morning and find a new dress for it. And that's morning. You and Miss Halton browses through the tailor's dresses together. First dinner party of your debate, you must be near fainting. I thought it was to be an intimate affair. How many people will be there? Well, my heavens, I don't know. I'm sure Mr. Sinclair would never invite fewer than 20 to London's dinner. 20? And everyone will be looking at you, of course, since it's your debate. Mr. Sultan puts down the ivory silk dress she was looking at, her face suddenly falling. I remember my debate. My mom told me 100 times not to talk too much, but of course I couldn't stop myself. But it didn't matter. That was the year the eldest Holloway sisters made her debate. None of the men even looked at me. That must have been her. It was. My mama was so upset with me, my heavens, and the things she said. And then we made the match with Mr. Merriplaster. Mama could hardly believe it. I mean, he's barely gentry on his father's side, but of course, his mother's a countess. And then when poor Harry passed, there were talks of Mr. Merriplaster inheriting, and we just... Mr. Sultan's streams of words stops abruptly as she looks at you. I mean, he wouldn't be inheriting, so my word here, we are shopping for gowns for your debate. Do you see any like? They're all beautiful. Oh, that would look marvelous on you. She pulled out a silk gown in a rich wine color, then looks at it happily. Just look at that delectage. You'll be turning heads of every man there. She thrusts the dress in your hands. Try it on. I will never be beautiful like you, but I know a gorgeous dress when I see one. Like I said, guys, we'll do it when we have more diamonds. Right now, we're only sitting at 11 diamonds, so probably towards the end of the book, we'll do something. I just wear this. Oh, just as well. Nothing here looks so good on me. I shall be grateful I'm not the only one coming in an old gown. What I wouldn't give to look like you. Why, I'd bet even wearing a Homo sapien, you were always the prettiest maid in the village. The night at Mr. Sinclair's townhouse. Oh my. Mr. Merricaster, Miss Sultan, Lady Amber, please be welcome. I've always forgot what a grand home you have, Mr. Sinclair. It's a shame you don't entertain more often. Yes, quite soon, a bit of self-important. It was built long ago and without my help, so I can take a little credit for it. Is it so hard, then, for you to accept a compliment? It's an unpopular sentiment, perhaps, but I prefer a compliment on my achievements and not what I own. Whereas I would take any compliment so long as it's sincerely meant. Mr. Sinclair holds open the door as you follow Mr. Merricaster and Miss Sultan inside. I am pleased to have you here, Lady Amber. I dare say the party will be more entertaining with your presence. A young woman suddenly approaches and seizes Mr. Sinclair's arm. Mr. Sinclair, I couldn't imagine where you had disappeared to. You must abandon me like that. The woman's eyes flicker over you, but she keeps her attention on Mr. Sinclair. I was hardly outside for a moment. What could you have imagined would happen? But here I was expecting an entire evening in your company. Every moment short of that is a tragedy. Mr. Sinclair gently removes his arm from her grasp. Miss Holloway, may I present Lady Amber of Edgewater and Lady Amber, Miss Felicity Holloway. A pleasure to meet you, Miss Holloway. Ah, yes, the Earl's natural daughter. Your father announced, quite shocked everyone, Lady Amber. Is that not right, Mr. Sinclair? Mr. Sinclair doesn't answer. His eyes are still on you. My father wasn't trying to shock anyone, Miss Holloway. With my brother's death, it was imperative that Edgewater have an heir. Well, it was quite brave of him to trust your mother's claim. A child born 20 years ago, the father could be almost anyone. My father recognized me immediately and loved my mother is the Earl of Edgewater, no one else. We both knew each other. The moment our eyes met, blood calls to blood. What a quaint idea. Do you not find it completely charming, Mr. Sinclair? Mr. Sinclair? Mr. Sinclair finally tears his eyes away from you. He shakes his head, clearly having not heard a word. My apologies, I was. It's like the poet said, is it not? The clouds gather round in the the setting sun. Do take a sober, colouring from an eye. That hath kept watch o'er man mortality, another race hath been in other palms or one. How did that one end again, Lady Amber? And now I want to die, and thus say I. Miss Holloway rolled her eyes. Thanks to the human heart, thanks to its tenderest, its joys, fears. That's what I meant. To me, the meanest flower that blows can give thoughts that often lie to deep tears. That's exactly the one. I cannot believe Lady Amber does not know the most basic worth. Some can you? Quoting the better thoughts of another man shows nothing about one's intelligent Miss Holloway. She gaps at him and then gives a tight nod. Just so. If you excuse me, I see someone over there. You and Mr. Sinclair are left standing alone, just shy of the main group of dinner guests. You follow him as he walks towards the kitchen. Mr. Sinclair, you were quite the romantic hero to come to my defense. I didn't need your help. I'll go with the first one. You need no one's help to defend yourself, Lady Amber. Then why did you do it? Your eyes met for a moment before he turned away. I cannot bear pretension. That is Mr. Wordsworth's work, to take pride in not Miss Holloway's. Still, it was an upbringing she insulted. I appreciate you not taking her part. Mr. Sinclair reaches down his arm, brushing past her skirt as he pulls a book from the shelf. Personally, I found Wordsworth a tad overwrought. I prefer the classics. He opens the large book to an earmarked section. You look at the heading. Shakespeare's Sonnets. Should you wish to expand your knowledge and save yourself any needs for rescuing from the likes of Miss Holloway. He offers the book to you as you take it from him. Your finger brushes for just an instant, and you open to a random page. Shall I compare thee to a summer day? Thou art more lovely, more temptate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer leans hath all too short a day. Add the book of poetry to your parlor to unlock special scenes and triumphs against a rival heiress to become an accomplished lady. We would if we had more diamonds, but we don't. So we're just going to refuse the book of poetry. I will not compete against Miss Holloway at her own game. No, I imagine only like games where you set the rules. You know me so well. Deciding not to acquire the book of poetry. A bell rings suddenly, calling the guests into the dinner. People began to line up 2 by 2, one man for each woman. Mr. Sinclair is at the front. Excuse me, I should be nuts, Mr. Sinclair. As an illegitimate daughter of the Viscount, I'm the ranking lady here tonight. I'm the daughter of an earl. The bastard's daughter. The acknowledged daughter and heir to an earl believes that making me the ranking lady. You sweep ahead of Miss Holloway, taking your place next to Mr. Sinclair at the front of the line. Suddenly, the door swings open at the back room and everyone swerves around to see. Sorry, my daughter's coming. Oh good, someone of quality at last. My apologies for a late arrival, but I've only just heard about the party. Duke Richards. You glance at Mr. Sinclair, whose face has gone rigid with fury. I do not remember issuing you an invitation, Your Grace. Then it is fortunate for me that you would never be so improper to ask your social betters to leave once they've come to call. You are, of course, the expert on property, or property or whatever, property. Duke Richards tried to confidently past Mr. Sinclair, and elbowing him aside to offer you his arm. Lady Amber, it is so good to see you again. I had hoped to find you here, Your Grace. The Duke takes your hand and plants a lingering kiss, first on your knuckles and then the inside of your wrist. He smiles to the rest of the room. The new Lady of Edgewater and I are already intimate acquaintances. Duke Richards, indeed, I should like us to be good friends. I would hardly call us intimate. I was truly excited for the chance to get to know you at my father's party. Of course you were. We did enjoy ourselves the other day, did we not? Dinner is served. At Mr. Sinclair's curt signal, the servant throwed open the doors to the dining hall, and the smell of the roasted meat drifts out. Duke Richards tucks your hand into his arm. Let's see what delicious Mr. Sinclair has managed to serve up today. You walk into the room where a long table is set with porcelain and silver and small calligraphed place cards sit on each plate. Enjoy your meal, Lady Amber. He walks to the head of the table, leaving you and Duke Richards looking at the place cards. Good evening, Miss Lady Amber. I believe you are between me and Mr. Sinclair. Mr. Bellemeal Chambers at your service. He bows with a sweep of his arm. A pleasure. I am overwhelmed with the honor of meeting this year's most eligible young lady during her first appearance in society. I understand it's an exciting time. Well, so far it's been a lot of figuring out where I stand in line. Frankly, indeed, usually the lining up goes a little more quickly than that, but no one quite knows where to put you. Duke Richards' shoulders past Mr. Chambers. Why, Sinclair? I'm hurt. I don't see a place set for me. Mr. Sinclair brows knit, but his voice remains leveled. That is a drawback to come uninvited, Your Grace. We hardly had time to accommodate you. This is the drawback to come uninvited, Your Grace. We hardly had time to accommodate you. Unfortunately, that leaves us with an uneven number of men and women, quite unacceptable. The Duke gaze lands on Mr. Chambers. Perhaps Mr. Chambers can give me his seat, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind moving to sit between the two men. Mr. Chambers looks at his table, a color rising in his cheeks. Duke Richards, you're welcome to sit next to me. The number of men and women don't matter. I want to get to know Mr. Chambers. My dear, everyone knows you need even numbers of men and women to make a party. That's ridiculous. Maybe for dancing, but what does it matter at dinner? No true gentleman would waste his time talking to other men when he could be wooing a lovely lady. The Duke pulls out Mr. Chambers' chair and sits in dismissively, handing Mr. Chambers his place card. Go find yourself another place, Chambers. You're wasted on the ladies. That's hardly appropriate way to address my guests. It's quite all right, sir. I don't mind moving. I'm sorry. Mr. Chambers shakes his head with a glance at the Duke and then kisses your hand and leaves. Anything else you would like to rearrange, Your Grace? Oh, I shall be certain to let you know if I think of something. At the other end of the table, servants scramble to lay an extra place setting for Mr. Chambers next to a bearded man. My pardon for the intrusion. The man answers with an accent to English. It is no doubt at all, my lord. The man's eyes meet and Mr. Chambers sits and pulling his chair close, he turned back to the Duke. You have gone to great trouble to sit beside me, Your Grace. You notice you are as clever as you are beautiful. You have hardly been suitable. Aha! Suitably is for those without the courage to be bold. Everyone sips their soup as the servants quietly ready the main course, and your eyes drift to the other end of the table where Miss Holloway hangs on Mr. Sinclair. So clever, Mr. Sinclair. I could never think of half of what you... The Duke lays a hand on yours, claiming your attention. So, I can't imagine your father has had much of a chance to show you the working of Edgewater. Not as much as I like, Your Grace. Mr. Merriweather speaks up, urgently on your side. I have worked with the Earl on the estate quite a bit. The Duke continues right over him. And how are you enjoying London, Lady Amber? London has been exciting and boring. I know I haven't seen a quarter of what the city has to offer yet. It's still amazing. I never thought I'd be here. I am most hopeful to see an opera. My mother was an opera singer when she and my father met. He saw one of her performances and fell in love. The Duke's eyebrows shoot up as he politely covers his mouth with his napkin. I had not heard of that. We assumed your mother was, well, not a singer. Do you have a problem with opera singers? Of course not. I have seen many lovely performances, so I understand how they might stir a man. I saw the marriage of Figano at Covent Garden last year. I thought it was very overrating.